focus on understanding the concept of multiplication. And sometimes that's the biggest mistake that teachers will make. They jump right into trying to get their kids to memorize multiplication facts before they spend enough time working on their understanding of what multiplication means. And so sometimes I think that's why kids struggle so much with remembering their facts. So first of all, we look at the situations of equal groups. Multiplication is all about equal groups. So we have to give them lots of experiences with that. Like for here, example, it says 3 equal groups of 5 pencils each. So thinking about what that actually means and what they would actually look like. So it would be 3 equal groups. And then you use those 5, use objects. And we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can do something like that with the kids. They can have bowls, be a little bigger so they can actually see what's in there, but they need something, or you can just use index cards to lay out to be your groups, and then they can put their objects on the groups. So whatever they're building, and of course it doesn't have to be pencils. This story problem is about pencils, but it can be just an object that symbolizes a pencil. So it's just an example of why you could do that with the kids, to make sure that we're using that concrete with them first, to get them to understand what it means. And then of course we've got a little scenario here. We've got books, they're in groups. So you've got 4 groups and you've got 3 in each group. So here we're looking at 4 equal groups of 3. And then this next scenario, do we have equal groups?
No, we don't have equal groups.
Right. We have 4 groups, don't we? But they're not equal. And so we have to give the kids, and of course that's another point I should make, is that non-examples are just as important as examples. We have to show them what it's not as well as what it is when we're working with math. Okay, here we've got 4 groups, and we've got 5 fingers on each hand. So could we consider this an equal group, these equal groups?
Yes.
Yes, and what would be the scenario here? I mean, what would be our situation? How would we say that?
5 hands with 5 fingers each.
4 hands, right? Yeah. So we've got 4 equal groups of 5 fingers, right? Yeah. What about this? So is this an equal group?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, 1 can be a group. So this one we would say 4 equal groups of 1. And of course you can see how we could model that. We could actually use the tool, and then we actually could draw that as well. We could do that semi-concrete. So the role of your factors, this is what I was alluding to earlier about I don't like whenever we flip-flop them back and forth. The roles of the factors differ. One factor is the number of objects in the group, and the other factor is the multiplier indicating the number of groups. So here we have 6 groups of 8. We've got 6 spiders, and each spider has 8 legs. So 6 groups of 8. So that would be 6 times 8. What's important, the reason why I don't like the way we flip-flop, some teachers will be okay with them flip-flopping the factors, is because of that wording. It's the way we read a multiplication sentence, and we have to be really careful about how we model it for them. And of course, another way of looking at that would be 8 legs 6 times. This is whenever we're talking about, when we get into that, remember that 4th grade standard, talking about 3 times, 6 times as many, that type of thing. So we use tools to model multiplication sentences. So I gave you all tons of tools. So what I'd like for you to do, and this is what I want to try, we'll see if it'll work. I practiced a little bit with Stephanie yesterday on it. What I'd like for you to do is to get your tools, whatever you want to use, whatever you happen to have there, and do me a model with a concrete model of what 3 times 5 would look like. Then what I'd like for you to do is with your phone, if it's possible, take a picture of it, email it to me, and I'm going to pull it up to share so we can share it with everyone. Is everybody okay with that? On board with that? All right, let's look here. We've got Sandy's here. Can everyone see Sandy's?
Yes.
Good, good. I was hoping it would work where you all could see it. Sometimes what I'm seeing, you all aren't seeing. So here we've got, we asked for 3 times 5. So she's done 3 groups. And there's 5 in each group, equal groups. And I like the way she used the different colors too. That's a great idea. Okay, so good job. Let's see what else I've got. Here's Keisha's. Open it up. Okay, so Keisha's used her base 10 ones units there like I've been using there. She's made, you can still see distinctly, you've got 3 equal groups. And we've got 5 in each group. All right, thank you. Just a little bit more, see if we can get any more. There's one more. Here's Melissa's. Okay, so Melissa's used the Unifix cubes. I like the trains. We've got 3 trains with 5 cubes in each train. So 3 groups of 5. Nice job.
Vonda, when I've heard like rows and columns, like the 3 rows, or I mean, you know, 3 rows and 5 columns, or 5 rows and 3 columns, or whatever. Do you know which one is the rows and which one is the columns?
Your first factor is the rows and your second is the columns. Yeah, we're going to look at that in a little bit, but yes, I mean, there's lots of confusion with it, and maybe I'm just being, but to me, it confuses the kids if we don't make a distinction for them. So here's Sabrina's. She's used her pattern blocks. Good. So we've got 3 equal groups with 5 in each group. Very nice, guys. Good. I like the way this has worked out. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. Now here's our next thing we're going to do. Now, what I'd like you to think about what it is. Think about the model that you just did. We're trying to work through this CSA model here. Think about what you just did with your tools. And I got to get back on this one. Now, on this one, if you can, I know Cindy's having a hard time with the internet. So if you, whatever you can do, Cindy, if you just need to hang on and listen, that's fine. What I'd like you to do is go back to, if you go back to annotating, get it to drop down for me. If you go back to annotate, there's a section there. There's a place, a choice where you can draw. And I'd like for us to try to draw the best we can our groupings of what we just did. How would you draw a grouping of 3 groups of 5? So what I'd like for you to do is I would like for, let me get me a stamp. There we go. Somebody's doing it. Just choose you a spot down there. Just take a corner, up or down, and let's try to annotate on here. There we go. All right. Who just did that one? In the bottom left.
That was me.
All right. Perfect. I love it, Sabrina. All right. I'm seeing my trains over here on the left. Good. Keisha, is that you with the check marks?
It is.
Great. Good. I'd say Cindy's having a hard time. It's a hard time for her to interact with us. All right. Perfect. Good job. Okay. So this is what part of that CSA model?
Semi-concrete.
The semi-concrete. Yes. So we did the concrete. You did that with your tools. And now you're doing the semi-concrete where you're actually drawing and doing those illustrations. All right, good deal. Great. So you see how you can actually do this with the kids? I mean, even if I know who knows what school's going to look like, but if we have to do something virtually with our kids, if we can just teach them a little bit how to annotate and how to interact, and if they've got this capability, we can at least see a little something with what's going on. I know it's hard. It's difficult. I feel your pain, but if we can think, we have to think outside the box now and be creative. Even more so. That's what teachers are always having to do. Okay, I'm going to clear so we can move on. Thank you.